Hello everyone, and welcome to Tony's Comic Spotlight. In this weekly episodic series, I spotlight some of the best comics put to print.
In this week's episode, we take a look at the main man himself, Lobo, as we shine the spotlight on his first appearance in the Omega Men, issue number 3 from 1983.
If you are enjoying the content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos. Feel free to leave a comment as well. I hope you enjoy the videos. And now, on to our featured story. The Omega Men end Assault on Euphorix. The Citadel make plans to conquer the last world in the Vega star system to grasp Euphorix. What makes their objective so difficult is the fact that Euphorix is protected by an impenetrable planetary shield. They attempt to plant a network of bombs across the shield's surface, but this fails to meet their goals. The Citadel are assisted by an Earth human named Harry Holcomb, who claims to possess the secret for conquering Euphorix. Meanwhile, the Citadel broadcasts a false transmission across all interstellar airways, declaring that they have already broken through Euphorix's defenses and are now laying siege to the planet. Lisa views the broadcast and is horrified. She is ready to bring the fight directly to the Citadel regardless of any objections that Primus may have. Demona learns of this and is pleased. She conspires to sow seeds of discord amongst the Omega Men so that Chigor might soon overthrow Primus and become the new leader of the team. Callista, Harpus, and Shaligan take the Omega Men mothership and set course for Euphorix. Callista orders Harpus to take them through hyperspace. They come out in an unexpected coordinate and striking a passing meteor, shearing the wing off the ship. Shaligan goes out a spacewalk to effect repairs to the ship's hull. He discovers a large shapeless organism attached to the side of the ship. On Slag, Doc tells Primus that Callista has left for Euphorix. Tigor antagonizes him, questioning his leadership capabilities, snidely remarking that not even his own wife follows his lead anymore. Primus storms off in a huff to find where Callista has gone. Meanwhile, on the Omega Men mothership, the organism has breached the hull and enters the low quarters where it spawns dozens of small predators known as graphlings. The creatures immediately begin attacking the ship's electrical systems. To complicate matters even further, a group of bounty hunters led by the alien known as Lobo boards the ship. Lobo, Bedlam, and Berserk blaze their way through the ship, killing several crew members, leaving Bedlam to fight with Harpus. Lobo arrives at the command center where he engages in a protracted battle with Callista. Added by the graphlings, Lobo soon defeats her and brings her back to the Citadel. Lobo's employer, Harry Holcomb, interrogates Callista, demanding the secrets of the Euphorix's planetary shield. Callista is confused and says that the Citadel has already broken the barrier. Harry confesses that the video was simply a ruse to draw Callista out of hiding, then exposes Callista to a telepathic creature known as the Grishagurt. The Grishagurt psychically begins to merge with her, absorbing her features, her knowledge, and her memories. The end. This issue marked the first appearance of the bounty hunter known as Lobo. Although initially designed as a minimum foe of the Omega Men, Lobo will make sporadic appearances throughout the early mid-1980s. His popularity will gradually increase, beginning with several appearances that run through issues 18 to 21 of Justice League International, and eventually branch off into his own franchise of miniseries, one-shot specials, and ongoing series. Lobo is Stan Lee's favorite DC character. This one is strange but true. Of all the characters in the pantheon of DC Comics, Lobo is not the first one that would spring to anyone's mind when thinking about Stan Lee's favorite character from Marvel's distinguished competition. And yet Stan has gone on record a few times to say how he finds Lobo unique, and if there were any DC characters he wished he'd created, it's the main man. He has said he loves how vile, strong, and ugly the last Zarnian is, and believes he should have been a Marvel character all along. Lobo first appeared as a villain. Lobo was created by Roger Schleich, Keith Giffen, and made his first appearance in 1983's Omega Men number 3. He led a group of bounty hunters in an attack on the Omega Men's mothership where they ended several crew members. This original incarnation of Lobo was a Valarpian whose entire race had been exterminated by the Psions, and he was most definitely a villain rather than the foul-mouthed anti-hero fans would come to know and love. He paired with a character called Bedlam, who he would later take out. He went on to make sporadic appearances throughout the 80s in Omega Men and Green Lantern. Lobo was a member of both the Suicide Squad and the Justice League. DC Rebirth has been much more well received by fans than the New 52. It returned the DC Universe to a more classic state, and crucially for fans of the Ultimate Bastards, it restored Lobo to his pre-New 52 characterization. He first appeared in the Suicide Squad vs. Justice League crossover event, where he was a member of Amanda Waller's first Suicide Squad team. He was being mind-controlled by Maxwell Lord, but Batman saw a way to sever his control. He implanted a bomb in Lobo's head and blew it up. His head regenerated, he was free of Lord's influence, and in debt to the Dark Knight, he then accepted Batman's offer to join his unorthodox new version of the Justice League. Lobo was created as a parody. Lobo's name translates as he who devours your entrails and thoroughly enjoys it. He is completely and utterly arrogant and self-obsessed. All in all, he's not a subtle character, which makes sense when you find out that he was created as a parody of the late 80s, early 90s trend for grim and gritty superheroes like Wolverine and the Punisher. Co-creator Keith Giffen said he had no clue why Lobo became so popular, as he created him as an indictment of these excessively violent and extreme characters. In the end, it seems that comic book fans didn't get the joke and simply loved Lobo for the same reasons as the other characters. Lobo was parodied by Marvel. In Deadpool issue 41, written by Christopher Priest and with art from Paco Diaz, the Merc with a Mouth found himself stranded in space. He made a deal with a group of alien criminals named the Last Men for a ride home. In return for getting him back to Earth, he had to help them spring their leader, Dirty Wolf, from a prison colony. Dirty Wolf was the last survivor of his race, had pale white skin, wild black hair, and drove a demonic motorcycle. Yep, Dirty Wolf was a parody of Lobo, and a pretty funny one at that. Amusingly, it meant that Marvel were parodying a character who was already a parody of several of their characters to begin with. Bitter enemies with Superman. If there is anyone in the galaxy whose personality is going to clash with Lobo's, it's the Man of Steel himself. While both men are the last surviving members of their respective races, that is where their similarities end. Lobo took out his entire world on a whim, whereas Superman kept the miniaturized version of Krypton's capital city in a bottle in his Fortress of Solitude, showing his people the reverence they deserved. Lobo actually clashed with Superman on his very first visit to Earth, where the two immensely powerful aliens fought each other to a standstill. Superman thinks Lobo is psychotic, and because he can't beat him physically, usually has to appease him somehow before the body count gets too high. Lobo was contracted by the Easter Bunny. After The Last Zarnian was a big hit in 1990, Lobo went on to star in a bunch of increasingly ludicrous miniseries. There was Lobocop, an obvious parody of Robocop, and then there was an infanticide in which his daughter gathers all his illegitimate offspring together to try to end their deadbeat dad. And then there was Un-American Gladiators, in which he took part in a deadly televised game show. But perhaps the best known issue was Paramilitary Christmas Special, where Lobo took on a contract from the Easter Bunny to take out Santa Claus, who had been constantly upstaging their holiday icons. When Lobo caught up to Santa, it turned out he was a vicious taskmaster with a gorilla right-hand man named Kong. Lobo fought Wolverine, but lost. In 1996, Marvel and DC put their differences aside and threw all their characters together in the Ultimate Crossover miniseries. Two godly brothers who personified their respective comic books became aware of each other and pitted their champions against one another in combat. Batman fought Captain America, Superman fought the Hulk, Wonder Woman fought Storm, and fittingly, Lobo clashed with Wolverine in a bar brawl. Disappointingly for the main man, Wolvie won their fight pretty easily, and most of it occurred off-panel. To be fair, in a crossover in which each company had to end on an even number of wins, the more popular Wolverine taking this one made sense, maybe. Lobo had a space dog. Lobo is not a man with many friends. Anyone stupid enough to get close to him for long has a very high chance of winding up off, you see. But there was a space bulldog that followed him around for a while and got into all sorts of mischief. Lobo tolerated the mutt and named him Dog, but had no patience if anyone referred to him as his dog. Dog wore an iron cross collar and usually had crisscross band-aids on his face. He was once stomped on by Lobo when he became possessed by a neural jinn. But a few DC Continuity reboots later, Dog was back by Lobo's side when the main man was hired to stage a fight with the Red Lantern Atrocitus. Lobo is from the utopian planet of Zarnia. Lobo's origin story was changed completely in the 1990 miniseries Lobo the Last Zarnian, which was plotted by co-creator Keith Giffen, scripted by Grant, and drawn by the character's defining artist Simon Bisley. This miniseries really established everything we would come to expect from Lobo going forward, including the anarchic and ultra-violent yet blackly funny tone of his stories. Lobo was born and raised on the peaceful planet Zarnia. One day, out of the blue, he decided he had to end the other 5 billion people on his world, so he would be unique. He then found out his 4th grade teacher was still alive and was forced to protect her from other bounty hunters. That is, until he took her out too, of course. Lobo's main love is dolphins. But you never thought Lobo would have this kind of soft spot, did you? Weirdly, the guy who killed his own race has a love for the dolphin species, space dolphins to be exact, and goes out of his way to protect and nurture them. In one story, Lobo's space dolphin was killed when he brought it along with him to Earth to fight Aquaman. His truce with Aquaman occurred due to a fisherman killing Lobo's dolphin, and the latter realized Aquaman really was a friend to the dolphin species. Refusing to fight Aquaman anymore, Lobo reasoned that any friend to dolphins is off his kill list, although he then proceeded to kill the fisherman. I hope you enjoyed this look at Omega Men issue number 3, where we shined a spotlight on the first appearance of the main man himself, Lobo. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe, and consider ringing the bell for future video notifications. And coming up next week is our very special 50th episode of Tony's Comic Spotlight. Well, I never thought that I'd be doing 10, let alone 50, so this is pretty cool. And to celebrate the 50th anniversary special, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to shine the spotlight on Marvel Comics Super Special number 1 from 1977, featuring Kiss, with the pages of the comic printed in real Kiss blood. So that's going to be pretty cool. So until next time, everyone be safe, take care, and God bless. See ya.